Coming up, a convict and an addict find hope and a mission to help others. And a man is living his best life despite a rare heart condition. Welcome to 700 Club Canada. We're so glad that you've joined us today. And today's theme is a new heart.
Wow.
Have you ever felt like you needed a new heart?
Well, you know, I was on my run the other day, and I did actually feel like I needed a new heart.
Well, you know, technology is amazing. And I think now with pacemakers, people can extend their life. And in many ways, that's like getting a new heart. But spiritually, of course, we believe that Jesus can give us a new heart and a new life, and that's really powerful.
It is. And my dad has a pacemaker, and way to go, Dad, because it's given him, a new heart in many ways. Well, throughout this pandemic, we've seen how worry and fear can take over, right, Bill? I don't know if you worry about anything.
Just a titch.
Today, we welcome worry management expert. Isn't that great? Denise Marek. She has some important advice on managing anxiety, fear, and worry in a healthy way. Well, welcome to 700 Club Canada, Denise.
Nice to see you, Lorie.
You too. I need you in my life, a worry management expert. Tell me, why did you write the book Calm? This is your new book, a proven 4-step process designed specifically for women who worry. I might need you. I don't know.
Well, I used to be one of those women that worried. In fact, when I was growing up, my mom used to say to me, Denise, if there was nothing in the world to worry about, you would find something.
Oh, man.
So what had happened was I was working as a seminar leader for a company in Colorado when I was in my 20s, and I was their Canadian trainer speaking all across Canada. And I was delivering topics on dealing with difficult people, conflict and confrontation, self-esteem for women. And I found that after 18 months of learning this and teaching this material, I stopped worrying. So I started paying attention to how I was thinking differently. And then I created this 4-step process. And I thought, better put it into a book because I'm not the only worrier out there.
Right.
There is for this.
You know what? That's so true. And I love that it's a 4-step process because I think maybe I could do that. So what is this 4-step process in a nutshell and why does it work?
And I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said it's a simple 4-step process that you think you can do. It's easy and it is applicable. That's why it works. So here it is in a nutshell. The 4-step process is called CALM. And CALM is an acronym, which will be helpful because each step starts with a letter in the word calm. The next time you're worrying, you can remind yourself to calm and follow each of the 4 steps. And here they are. C, challenge your assumptions. And the reason we need to continually challenge our assumptions is they're often wrong and they're leading us to the worry. So we need to challenge those assumptions.
True.
A is act to control the things that are within your control. And the Bible gives us so many instructions on actions we can take. So be anxious for nothing, but with prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to the Lord. So pray with thanksgiving. The L is let go of uncontrollable. So what are some ways? And in my book, I have the worry-free 43. So 43 ways you can learn to let go of those things that you really can do nothing about. And the M is manage your mind. And this is where you learn to guard against negative thinking. And scripture tells us we need to take every thought captive. So how can we do this so that we can then feel less worried?
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. I mean, I get that. You're right. Those 4 things, like challenging your assumptions, taking action on the things that, like, you can't deal with everything that's out of your control, right? And I think you've hit it right on the head. Thank you that you made it simple, Denise. Do you find that people respond because it's simplified?
Yes, and I think that's the key. You want to make sure you're not complicating anything. You want to make sure that it's easily applied. And within each of the steps, what I do is provide some questions. So, for instance, when you're making assumptions and they're snowballing out of control, you can ask yourself, is what I'm thinking true? Is it a fact? Is it helpful? And then you start replacing those worried thoughts and that worried thinking with the truth. And once you're in alignment with the truth, that inner peace starts to grow.
Right on. And that is so biblical. So tell me, what role has your faith, Denise, played in your personal experience of facing worry, anxiety, and stress?
I think the biggest thing for me is to know you're not alone. And in my own life, a lot of times we can feel worried. We can have many sleepless nights when we're thinking about, oh no, my finances, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this situation? And for me personally, when I realized it's not me, God is my provider. I have God on my side. He's in my corner when things get tough. I mean, He knows how our hearts can become easily troubled, and He doesn't want that for us. And He is for us. He doesn't want that for us, and He is for us. And for me, that's such a great source of peace, just knowing I'm not on my own.
Yes, well, absolutely. I mean, that is so true. I love how you're rooting really this teaching really for anyone, but it really is deeply biblical. And I like that you're pointing people even to the source of where we can take our worry. And a lot of people are worried, right? This pandemic has just multiplied feelings of anxiety. So what would you say to our viewers who struggle, and how can they start taking these steps towards a calmer life?
I think really holding on tight to, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And when you look at the word all, it doesn't mean some things or maybe some of the easy things. It means you can do all things. And that includes learning how to let go of worry. Cast your cares upon the Lord, for He cares for you. And He wants you to feel that inner peace and that love so that you're more capable of going out there and living the life that He created for you. He prepared you for a specific reason. And when you can let go of that worry, it stops holding you back from living that life He has prepared for you.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, before we let you go, can you quickly say one more time the 4 CALM? Spell it out for us.
Challenge your assumptions, act to control the controllable, let go of the uncontrollable, and manage your mind.
Wow, that is so good. Thank you, Denise, so much. If you want to know more about Denise and to get a hold of her book, Calm, go to 700club.ca. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you so much.
Well, this is how Matt's life changed the day he learned to put faith before fear.
I kept God completely out of the picture because I was busy having a good time, and I didn't really want, a relationship with God.
Having a good time was the motto of Matt Kruger's life growing up. His passion and ability to play sports opened the door to plenty of partying in high school and during his college years.
I played sports in college at a small school and had a lot of great friends, but we'd party a lot and we had a lot of fun. But, I just at that point in time didn't really see a need for going to church a whole lot.
His partying came to a halt when, during a routine physical in college, 18-year-old Matt Kruger learned he had cholesterol levels over 400, which could lead to a severe case of CAD, coronary artery disease. It's a condition where plaque builds up inside the arteries feeding the heart.
The normal cholesterol level should be around 100 to 150. The nurses kept on coming back and they took my cholesterol reading 3 times because they couldn't believe it.
Because Matt was adopted as a baby, he didn't know the medical history of his family. But like most young men, Matt didn't think much about his condition and continued his wild lifestyle like nothing was wrong.
We drank a lot, and I think maybe one of my excuses was, well, life's short, so let's party. I was young, I was in great shape, playing sports, I wasn't overweight, and so I just kind of shrugged it off.
Matt's longtime girlfriend, Marina, tried to convince him to be more conscious of his health, but Matt wasn't listening.
I could tell he felt like life was over, like that he might not have a future. So I guess I took on the role of feeling like I needed to reassure him that there was still going to be a future.
At 22, Matt had a heart scan. It revealed that so much plaque had built up in his arteries that doctors warned he could have a heart attack or stroke at any moment. They recommended immediate surgery. Matt began to get serious about his life.
And I remembered thinking to myself, you know what, maybe it's time to kind of move on with my life. And maybe it's time to stop partying and start to have a family.
Matt and Marina decided to marry. Finally, when Matt was 26, he agreed to have 6 stents inserted in his arteries to open up the blockages. It was actually during the surgery that he learned why he hadn't died already.
My heart had started to grow its own little tiny bypass in capillaries.
But Matt's surgery led to an unexpected side effect. For the first time, he really became fearful of his own death.
Any little ache and pain that I would have, I would immediately go to the thought of, oh my gosh, this is it. So much so that I even took 2 ambulance rides to the hospital only to find out there was nothing wrong with me.
Matt's fear of death began to wreak havoc on his marriage.
He really couldn't concentrate on anyone else. I mean, that was taking all of his mental time. I battled with feeling like you couldn't meet his expectations.
Matt's breaking point came after a day he spent doing yard work. He was sure he was having a heart attack and quickly began to pray.
I said, God, if this is it, if this is a heart attack, and I do die, then I want to make sure that I'm going to be with you. It was kind of at that point that I truly, with all my heart, asked Jesus into my life. I kind of held him off to the side for so many years, and it was my last hope and my last option, but it was my best option. A peace came over me, and now I almost felt like the devil can't torment me here, because if I am going to die, I'm going to go and be with God.
Matt didn't have a heart attack that day, but he says God gave him a new spiritual heart. That's when things really began to change. Marina was the first to notice.
He's selfless. He's got an amazing sense of discipline that you don't see in a lot of people. And he's got a heart for God and a heart for wanting to serve, which is just 110% opposite of who he used to be.
God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. When you let go of your life and you give it to God, he wants to show you how he's faithful.
Today, the Krugers have 4 children, a successful business, and a strong marriage. Matt has changed his diet and exercises regularly. All of that has given him a much healthier heart and a much happier life.
Life is shorter than we think, and none of us want to think about death, but it will come to all of us. He just wants us going forward to continue to love him and to grow in him, so that when we get to that judgment day, we've done what we can on this earth for him, and we can spend the rest of eternity with him.
Matt said it so well. Nobody likes to think about death, but it is inevitable. And maybe you're watching, and to be honest, if you're honest, death is filled with fear for you. And maybe it even seems unfair. So how do we overcome this fear? Well, I think you have to ask a more important question, and the more important question is, why do we have to die in the first place? In order to understand that, we've got to go back to the very beginning of time in the garden, where God created a perfect world. And in this perfect world, he gave us the choice to follow him and live forever in the perfect life we were designed for, or to reject him. And unfortunately, we all rejected that offer, and as a result, our world became broken. So God had to make a choice. Would he allow us to live forever in the broken world we had created? Or would he bring an end to the broken world so he could restore the world back to its intended purpose? And so Jesus stepped into our world, and he explained this, that he had come to bring a new way, that we didn't have to be afraid of death, because death wasn't the end. It was just a transition into something better if we would follow him into it. In John 11:25, it says this: Jesus said to her, he was speaking to a woman who is afraid of death. He said, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. And then he asks this really interesting question that you have to answer as well. Do you believe this? So let me ask you a question. What do you believe? Are you clinging to this broken world, trying to make the most of it, like hanging on to a sinking ship? Or are you believing for a better world and trusting that Jesus will lead you there? If you do, you don't need to be afraid. Well, I want to pray for Malika, who sent in a prayer request. She said, please pray that God would direct my teenage boys to make good choices and have an eternal perspective. And so, God, I am just agreeing right now with Malika for her boys. You know her heart because you have a father's heart. You are passionate for your children. And we all know that there are choices and consequences. So for her boys, I pray that they would know how much you love them and that they would trust you and experience not only eternity in the future, but even right now. May their lives be changed in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Well, up next, Frankie and Elizabeth's lives were going nowhere, and you're going to see how God gave them a second chance.
Hello, my name is Michelle, and I'm a prayer partner with 700 Club Canada. We have an amazing team waiting to pray with you, and we're available every day. We want to make it easy for you to connect with us. All you have to do is pick up your phone and call us at our toll-free number, 1-855-759-0700. And don't forget to let us know how God answered your prayers. We want to celebrate in your victories too. Our number again is 1-855-759-0700. We look forward to connecting with you today.
I just thought, what's the point? Life is so, I just remember saying, life sucks, it's painful, it's hard.
Life's difficulties started early for Elizabeth Verber. At age 9, her father left and never returned. By age 15, Elizabeth began numbing her pain with drugs and alcohol. After high school, Elizabeth sought purpose, only to find her substance abuse taking its toll.
Internally, I was a mess, and I didn't know what to do or where to turn.
Elizabeth received a glimmer of hope. Some family members offered to let her stay at their home while she attended college at their expense.
Okay, I'm finally gonna get out of this mess. I'm gonna get to do something, be somebody. And so I was very excited about having the opportunity to go to college.
But all that changed one night when a family member did the unthinkable.
He had brought me a drink. I never thought, anybody, especially family, would ever do anything to hurt you. And so I didn't think anything about it. I took the drink, and I just remember feeling very strange. And I do remember, at one point being held down and that happening. And it was almost like I was lifeless, like I didn't fight it. It was complete shock because you don't think that anything like that would ever happen. But it did.
Elizabeth left the home and college. She met Frankie, who helped her escape from pain, temporarily.
He made me laugh. He made me forget about everything. And I thought, man, if I could just feel like this, I'm gonna be okay. But then it would spiral.
Frankie and Elizabeth began dating, but both were drinking heavily, addicted to drugs, and even at one point, homeless. Frankie was sent to jail for a DUI.
And I just remember being all by myself and just crying till I could not cry anymore. I mean, I can't take it anymore.
Elizabeth decided she would end her life. She heard one voice telling her to do it, but another voice told her things would get better if she didn't do it.
And I was like, what? But at that point, I believed it. And that's the point that I actually started to hope.
Frankie began hoping too. In jail, he met a man that led him into a relationship with Christ.
One night, I pull the blanket over my head. I'm in a bunk, fixing to go to sleep, and I just start asking God, come be with me as much as you can. That's all I knew to say. And the power of God came over me, which I know now, is the Holy Spirit coming to visit me and show me that he was real.
Elizabeth visited Frankie in jail and noticed a big change in her boyfriend.
He was saying such nice things. He was like, when I get out of here, we're gonna get married, and I'm gonna serve the Lord, and we're gonna be happy. And I was just like, are you doing drugs in there? Like, what are you talking about?
Frankie kept praying for Elizabeth and arranged for her to stay with his mentor's mother-in-law. Mama Kay, as she's called, left a Bible on the dresser for Elizabeth.
I just glanced over and I was like, okay, there's the Bible. But I've tried to read that crazy book. It does not make any sense at all. But for, this particular night, I decided to.
That night, God spoke to Elizabeth through his word.
All of a sudden, my eyes were open. I knew what was wrong with my life, and I knew what was missing, who was missing. I got on my knees and I prayed a simple, honest prayer. I said, God, if you're real and you can do anything with my mess of a life, I'm gonna give it to you.
Frankie noticed an immediate change in Elizabeth.
From the way she dressed to the way she started speaking, I could see the hope in her eyes, and I mean, it was an instant change.
Today, Elizabeth and Frankie are married and have 4 children. Frankie is a youth pastor, and Elizabeth leads the women's ministry at their church. She's also the author of a book called No More Darkness and tells the story of God's deliverance through her most difficult times. Elizabeth is thankful that God forgave her, which allows her now to forgive others and heal her past hurts.
Look at how much you have done for me, and look at how you have forgiven me, and I don't deserve it. And when I began to understand that, he said, that's what will empower you to forgive and really set you free. I was like, Lord, I'll never stop telling what you've done in my life. I'll never stop telling how you can change a person's heart.
Well, I'm so glad that Elizabeth will not stop telling what God has done for her. I mean, people need to hear it. People need hope, as she did. And God is the one who brings us hope. Just like in Elizabeth's story, he can pull you out of any dark pit, and I mean any dark pit, and bring you into the light. But see, those of us who just have been in the light and we follow Jesus, we need to tell others what he's done so that other people will turn to God too. I love Psalm 107, and the first 2 verses really remind us of this truth. It says this, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. Has the Lord redeemed you? Then speak out. Tell others he has redeemed you from your enemies. Pretty clear message, right? If God has redeemed you, if he has given you hope, if he's picked you out of darkness and put you into his light, you need to tell others. It's really as simple as that. The end of that Psalm 107, right near the end, verse 43 has become our family's verse. And it simply says, they will see in our history the faithful love of God. That's our family verse because we spoke out. We are telling and continue to tell of what God has done in our family, of pulling my 3 prodigal children out of darkness and bringing them into the light. And he has more than redeemed not only their story and their lives, but the more we keep sharing, the more hope we can bring to others. What has God done for you? You need to tell it. You need to tell someone today because you know that it will bring them hope. We have a resource called Hope. All you have to do is call us at 1-855-759-0700. It's free, and yet we want to pray with you. We want to encourage you. And can I just say, would you tell someone today what God has done for you? We'll be right back.
And on behalf of Safe Hope Home, I want to say a personal thank you. Because of your faithful giving, you have helped us to continuously provide care and support to the young women that we serve. In particular, your generosity helped us to give them a wonderful Christmas. Holidays are an especially hard time for these young women, and because of you, we were able to give them a holiday season full of love, joy, and giving. So thank you again from the bottom of our hearts.
Well, we have a brand new resource that we are very excited about entitled The Nearness of Heaven. And it's stories about people who've experienced heaven and have lived to tell the story. And so if you want to learn what heaven is like and also how you can experience God's kingdom here, why not become a partner with us today? For as little as $20 a month, you can do that and receive this resource. So I want to encourage you, call us today at 1-855-759-0700 and receive that resource. And again, if you become a partner, we want to send this as a very special thank you. And thank you for doing all that you do so we could do what we do. We're doing it together.
Abigail had braced herself for this moment, a battle with cancer.
The Grim Reaper was standing at the foot of my bed.
Abigail says she then saw a vision of herself with Jesus in Jerusalem. He walked her past the cross and into the tomb.
And he said, Abigail, when I sat up, you sat up. And then he walked to the entrance of the tomb. And in that moment, I knew.
The Nearness of Heaven, available now. The latest teaching from Gordon Robertson.
Hey, Bill, wait. Did you get calm? Are you more calm now from my conversation with Denise?
I said, I need someone to manage my anxiety. I didn't think I had to do it. I thought she was going to do it for me.
Well, you can apply those steps yourself. So good, though, right? So helpful.
You know, I love how practical the gospel can be.
Yeah.
Sometimes we make it overly complicated, and yet when we apply its principles, it literally transforms us in very practical ways. And I love when people are able to tap into that and share that.
That's right. And that's
awesome.
what Denise has done. Well, we have some praise reports, which we love. And Elsie said, I called into the prayer line for prayer for my nephew who just got out of prison. I prayed that he would be able to find a job. Well, thanks be to God, he not only got a job, but he also found a church near where he lives. Elsie, we are praising God with you. Thank you for calling us. Thank you for sharing that answer to prayer.
That is awesome, because it also encourages others when we share these praise reports. And Carolyn said, I am so grateful to God that I received a job working in a retirement home. Thank you for your prayers. Well, God, Carolyn, we were glad that we got to do that for you.
Exactly, and he cares about every aspect of our life. Like, every detail of life. That continues to amaze me, that God actually cares about my daily needs and he's willing to provide it. So don't ever hesitate to ask God, and certainly give us a call and we'll ask him with you.
Yeah, and I've learned that you cannot fail. You can't when you trust in God's way.
That's
well,
true.
Our power verse for today is found in Ezekiel 36:26, where God promises, if we trust him, he says, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you.
I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. Wow, that's the gospel right there. God changes us at our heart, right? It's like a pacemaker.
We need a new heart.
We do.
And he gives it to us. I love that.
He does. Well, thank you for watching today. Please give us a call. We're here for you.
To contact us, visit 700club.ca.
Tomorrow on the 700 Club Canada, a special edition of Superbook. Joy, Chris, and Gizmo meet Jonah.